As most of the accountants watching know, the majority of the accountants get their clients just from referrals. And referrals is great because it's free and you don't have to do a lot of work to get them, but you don't control them. And I can already tell you, if you have your own firm or if you are thinking of starting your own firm, if you don't control the source of where your clients are coming from, the moment you have capacity left, you are basically standing there empty-handed, just fingers crossed, hoping that a client will walk in the door. And I can already tell you, if you don't have a source of clients outside of referrals, they're not just going to walk in. So the reason why a lot of accountants just get clients from referrals is because they don't fully understand how to get clients outside of referrals. So the majority of the accountants, they just think that the quality of the work is going to get them the clients. And although that's true, there will come a point where you just fired a big client, you recently hired someone, or you automated some work, and now you have capacity, which you of course want to fill up as soon as possible. In this video, I'm going to tell you why the majority of the accountants never really take getting clients outside of their referral network serious. And I'm also going to give you a tip on how to actually approach getting clients the right way. So before we do this, let me first introduce myself in case you are new. My name is Daan, owner of Accounting Kings, where I work with accountants to get them more higher paid clients. And we have used the same basically method that I'm going to discuss in this video to help one of our clients, Robert, to add $200,000 in new annual revenue in 9 months of working with us. I'm not saying this, by the way, to sell you. I'm just saying so that you actually know, hey, this stuff actually works. So let me share my screen and I will explain what I have for you here. So what I've found in the last 7 years of working with accountants is that accountants, of course, are very perfectionistic, right? They always want to have everything perfect. Because if you think about it, that's your profession. The numbers need to line up and everything needs to make sense in the best way possible. But the thing is that if you are going to try to get clients, for example, with paid advertising, cold outreaches, or if you are going to create content, you being 100% perfectionistic is actually going to be a downside. The reason why this is going to be a downside is because there is no marketing campaign that is 100% perfect. There is no outreach method that is 100% perfect. And as you can see with my beautiful spreadsheet over here, I'm going to give you 3 different methods to getting clients. And it's not the case that one of them is better or that one of them is the best necessarily. It's just to tell you and give you a perspective that there are multiple ways of getting clients outside of referrals. And the reason why a lot of accountants still rely on referrals is because they are so perfectionistic in their work, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing, but this is holding them back in sales and marketing because there is no perfect way to get clients. There are multiple ways that you can implement to get clients. And oftentimes accountants, they just get stuck because they cannot really pick and they don't know what the right way is. So over here you see the quality only method, the quantity only method, and the quality method. What I mean by this is the following. Let's say that you are doing outreaches, right? You get clients from cold email or Facebook, LinkedIn outreach, and you want to send 100 messages. Now there are 3 different ways that you can approach this strategy. You have a quality only method, a quantity only method, and quality. That's basically a mixture of all of them. So a lot of accountants, they tend to pick the quality only method because, again, it's perfect, right? It's the perfectionism that really kicks in and that is basically holding them back from getting more clients. And I will explain why. So the quality method is basically you sending a message to someone. Let's say you email someone or you send them a message on LinkedIn, and it takes you 20 minutes to send the message. And this is taking in consideration that you are going to source the leads, that you send connection requests, and that once they accept the connection request and you can message them, that you are going to make a very long personalized video. So it takes you 20 minutes per message to send, right? And your ABR, appointment booking rate, is, let's say, 8%. And you can see with the other methods, it's 2 or 4%. So what I found from the accountant's kind of brain is that this is the method that a lot of accountants prefer, right? They are very perfectionistic, they want to give a personal touch, and they want to build a relationship with the person that you are reaching out to, and they want to build a relationship because that's also what accounting is, right? You need to trust the person you're going to work with, but you don't necessarily need to trust the person 100% just to book a meeting. So what you actually need to take in consideration is that if you just have the goal of booking meetings, perfectionism is not necessarily a good thing. Because what I see accountants do is they send a low volume of message with the quality method, and they have a very high appointment booking rate, but it takes them ages to send the messages. And therefore, they don't necessarily like to do the work because they don't feel like they're reaching out to a lot of people, and it takes a long time, and they don't really like to do sales or marketing, right? So this method can work. Again, there are no best or worst methods. Depending on your situation, there are kind of. But with this method over here, the quality method, let's say that you want to send 100 messages and you send 20, it takes 20 minutes to send the message. You have an appointment booking rate of 8%. So you book 8 appointments and it takes you 250 minutes to book one meeting, right? So this approach is fine because you can see over here, it also takes 250 minutes to book one meeting. So for example, with the quantity method, so let's say that the quality method, let's pick cold email as an example. You are emailing people and you do a lot of research on the company. You already tell them you can use this strategy to increase your profit margins. You can, I see that you are working with commercial real estate developers, and I can already tell you that if you use this strategy that your job profits will increase, stuff like that, right? You do so much work to send the messages. Well, this is just blasting a big list and saying, yo, I can help you increase your profit margins. Do you want to book a call? Right? So what you can see, and this is, by the way, this is a representation of what it can actually look like, is that if you are blasting a list, no real big personalization, then what will happen is that you can send, with 5 minutes of work, a message, consideration that you have to get the leads, make the copy, everything. You have a 2% appointment booking rate, so it's not far as good as this one over here. And you basically book 2 meetings with this work, but still it's 250 minutes per appointment. So of course, those are not exact numbers. This is just to give you an illustration of what that will look like in the different approaches. And again, there is no right and wrong, and I'm going to explain why a little later. And then over here, what you have is you have a little bit of a personalization. So over here, you record a big video explaining everything about the business, how you can help. Over here, there's no personalization. And over here, you just type in something really quick. Hey, I looked at your business, looks great. I see that you work with commercial real estate developers. By the way, this is a strategy you can implement. So again, you spend less time than this and more time than this. Your booking rate will be higher, but still the time spent to book one meeting will be the same. Now, why is this important for you to know? It's because there are pros and cons to each approach, and the reason why a lot of accountants never really pick a method or basically create a system to book meetings outside of referrals is because they cannot pick a method that is best for them. So there are a couple things that you need to take in consideration, especially if you are going to do cold outreach. So this can also be with paid advertising. I will give some examples a little later. So over here, can run out of leads. It's very hard with the quality method to run out of leads fast. So for example, if you have a niche where there are only 10, 15,000 businesses in it, running with the quality method makes sense. Reason being is because if you are going to blast an email list and you send 500 emails every single day, there comes a point pretty fast where you don't have any leads anymore to message, and you need to reuse the list, and you don't want to message that list too often. So if you have a very small niche, for example, a client of mine, he works with marinas. There are not that necessarily that many marinas in the US where he's located. So we take a more quality approach there. And the benefit of working with the quality approach is that, again, it's harder to run out of leads, and it's easier to actually convert the leads because, again, there is a little bit more trust built already. But the thing is, automation, it's not really an easy option, because if you are going to have a lot of personalization in your outreach, you as the expert, you as the accountant, obviously you don't necessarily want to outsource the financial advice and the insights to some guy who just wants to do a little bit of appointment setting, and he's just getting his feet wet in the industry of booking meetings and he doesn't know anything about accounting. Okay, so that's really the downside. But then with the quantity only method, it's very easy to run out of leads. But if you work with a huge industry, like maybe 80 or 100,000 people, that's not really a big problem, because you can easily send hundreds of emails every single day and you use the same leads maybe twice a year, and that will not be a big problem. And automation is extremely easy. You just upload it to software, or you can just hire someone to do it for you. You just tell them what message to send, and you can just be very hands off. But then in terms of sales, it's a little bit harder, because there is no real trust built. There's just someone that sent a message, they have some interest, but they haven't really seen your face, and they also know, well, does this person actually know something about my business? So then we go to the quality method, where you kind of go in between. You make a short personalized line, which they maybe remember, or you, for example, send a funny photo to someone, a little bit personalized. You see, I don't know, that they like golf, and you send a photo of a golf thing. This is all in between, because you are not going to run out of leads very fast, but if the niche is still relatively small, there is a chance. The automation degree is medium. You cannot just upload it to a software and then take your hands off it, or give it to someone from the Philippines, for example. But you can automate it to some degree, right? If you just explain the method to someone with a little bit of experience, and this person can even be from somewhere from like the Philippines, for example, but they do need some degree of experience, then you can actually just tell them how it works, your approach, and you can automate it. It's a little bit more hands-off. And then over here, sales effort, they do remember you a little bit. There was a little bit of a personalization, so it's relatively easy compared to the quantity method to convert them. So what you need to remember when you are going to create a marketing and appointment booking strategy for your firm is that pick a niche. First of all, I already discussed in another video why that's important. But once you know who you are going to target, make sure that you just pick a strategy, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and realize that there are pros and that there are cons. So now you also know what the pros and cons are. If you want to figure out what the size of your niche is, just ask Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, and Google Gemini about the size, the amount of companies on like a certain revenue range in your target area. And you want to consult multiple AIs, because then you actually have a higher chance of, taking the average and having an accurate number there. But yeah, I really hope this is helpful. Remember, marketing outreach ads doesn't have to be perfect like the books need to be. It just needs to do the job. It just needs to book meetings. And there are multiple ways that you can make stuff work. Just pick a niche, look at the pros and cons of every method, stick to it, get data, and iterate to make it work. So, by the way, if you are an accountant and you want some help with this, you have some capacity left, you can just click on the link in the description to figure out what it exactly is that I do. But again, you don't have to, don't want to push anything and pitch you anything if you don't need it. But if you can use some help, it's just there so that you can book a call with us. And if you learn something, make sure you do the like, subscribe stuff, because then the algorithm is going to suggest more videos like this, so that you are going to learn more and will be able to help more businesses and grow your firm in the meantime. So yeah, really hope it helps. See you in the next one.